Well, let's talk about food plots. This is an upper corn food plot that I'm just going to call failed, even though we did everything we possibly could. Limed it, fertilized it, just didn't get the right rains, and then deer just crushed it. But this is I think it's called borderline. I'll post a picture of it, but it's got sorghum, really tall sorghum, Egyptian wheat in it, and it's coming along pretty good. I also put switchgrass in here, but I don't know how to figure out switchgrass. Up here I have an exclusion cage with oaks and a few chestnuts in it, and if you want to think deer are not the problem, look there and look over here inside this cage. The tassels, you know, it can't be as tall as it wants to be. They're all bent over, but look at the ears. Think that answers the question? See the chestnut shining through there? Look at this thing. Two stalks right next to each other, still producing pretty good sized ears, just because they got great fertilization. It's just, I got to do something different. I do like corn, but I'm going to have to be serious about predator control. Look at this. It's just unbelievable. Next field, also basically devastated. But I do have to say, planting with that Tar River DRL-072 has been great, a great addition. You can imagine the rows here if you look. See those rows? This is that borderline mix, Egyptian wheat, sorghum. Now, it was hard to do full weed control there because I didn't spray it. And so that's a learning point for me. I just tilled it and then planted. But whereas this over here I was able to spray later because it's Roundup ready. But looks like the sorghum's getting ready to bloom. Put its seed head out. And I put one of those at each one, and each one has switchgrass. Another devastated field. That's an erosion control where the goldenrod's growing. Another field, and then food plot, borderline. This is something clearly different than the regular foxtail that I get here. It's some sort of millet. Pretty amazing looking, actually. It's got a beautiful red to it, making zillions of seeds. So that should be popular for the animals. The sorghum head. That's about, I'm going to say 7+ foot tall. And these over here are starting to emerge. Pretty nice. Be fun to watch all this grow. More of this. I'm going to call this a millet. Let me use my app and see. So my app says this is a foxtail millet or a giant millet. So there could be also switchgrass in there, I just don't know. But good for birds, maybe deer, turkey, definitely. Now this is the plot that I declared failed. If you don't follow me over in the Deer Addiction channel, it's all one word, Deer Addiction. I posted about this plot failing, and I planted it about a week ago, and it's popping. Pretty good germination. Just got to see if it's too close or not. Corn looks nice and green, but it's all about 2 foot tall. Hopefully the 3 tassels that are tasseling can produce corn ears for everything else. Crazy. Just love having the ability, having the health and ability to walk this. Just listen. I saw someone was harvesting their hazelnuts just the other day. Oh yeah. These hazelnuts are producing and dropping. Do you see that? They've already dropped. We've got some in there. I'm gonna harvest some of those. Some still in there. Well, I'll be here early next week and I'm gonna harvest all of these. Now these are not quite to that same level, but I think next week they'll be ready. Yeah. If you guys have hazelnuts, what do you do with them? Do you eat them or do you just let them feed the wildlife? Do you roast them? Let them dry, crack them? Or just crack them early? This soil I'm trying to improve. We got clover and chicory. We got medium red, ladino white, and then whatever the natural white clover that happens to grow here is. Chicory actually tolerates pretty poor soil. Alright, if you guys remember, we took this small food plot, burned it with glyphosate, and the top half we planted with just the spreader, the hand spreader, the Earthway manual spreader, and the bottom half we used the Tar River DRL-072 Drill. And then I came and did one row right here with the drill and a top row with the drill. The benefit of the drill is it knocked down the grass. The benefit of not using it is it left the grass up, which will stay in the animals' faces and keep them from grazing when the plant is brand new. But if you look down in here, let's see what we got. We got pretty good germination. Can you see that? But I'm going to say it's behind the germination by the drill. Now I don't know if that's just because it was laying on top of the soil, which is probably right. I'm going to say that's probably the reason. It just laid on top of the soil. Whereas I put this in about just barely in. But you can definitely see a difference if you go from the non-drilled to the drilled area. You can actually see green. You can actually see the lines. And I'm new to metering the seed, but it seems like it did okay. It just remains to be seen. And again, I was using it kind of as a no-till drill, just moving it slowly through this soil without tilling it. And it's not a no-till drill. So the rows that did, you know, if it's uneven, and I mean, it would still be actuated and drop seed, but it'd be kind of the same as hand spreading it, just drop it on the top. But you can see that this is actually not too bad. This is a great combination. And you want it to look, you know, that's actually probably a little crowded for what we want. You kind of want it more looking like this area where there's a plant every 6 or 8 inches, because this is just going to take off in the next couple weeks. But still, I'm happy. I think I'd continue to use the Tar River drill, that's for sure. And I think it looks better right now than the other, but what really matters is in about a month, month and a half, what it looks like. Coming up now on the food plot that I declared the failed corn that I overseeded. Couldn't use the drill for that unless I wanted to kill the corn, and I'm still hoping for some vertical structure to make the deer feel more comfortable. In the distance you can hear a hay conditioner. This was just planted about a week ago, so still looks pretty good. It's crazy. You can just see it almost looks like detasseling corn, if you ever detassel corn, except for it's you cut it off with a machete. Look at that, chuk, 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 right in the dead center of the screen. Every single stalk eaten by deer. This is our final food plot. It's got going to have switchgrass in it next spring. But you can see the rows. They're about 9 inches apart. Where I used it as the no-till. It's doing pretty good. You want it to look a little sparse when you first start, because these grow up to be robust plants. And this not busting up the soil conserves moisture.